Hey everybody, Mark Kelly, Mr. Saltwater Tank. I'm here in Orlando, Florida with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Jimmy Newbie Reefer, looking at his awesome looking saltwater tank. For those of you that don't know, we've done a series with Jimmy because Jimmy is a saltwater aquarium newbie. Never had a tank before, always wanted a tank. So we got him a tank and we've teaching him how to set up the tank, how to maintain the tank. If you missed that, check it out on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. You can see all those episodes and catch up on things. Now, for those of you that aren't caught up, Jimmy, give us the 2-minute recap on where we are and how we got here.
Okay, am I still a newbie? Because I'm like 6 months in and I know what a media reactor is now. I know what a skimmer is.
Do you feel like a newbie?
I really am still a newbie because you were just telling me the names of some of these corals in here. And Vargas.
That's half of it.
Oh.
You have a 50. You're
Vargas, what is it?
Sespicularia.
Vargas sespicularia. Okay. So yeah, I'm still a newbie. I'm still learning a lot, of course. But how I got here is I always wanted a saltwater tank for years and years and years.
Don't we all? If not, that's what's missing out of your life is a saltwater tank.
If you don't have one, why not? You probably wouldn't be watching this if you weren't at least interested in one. Most of you probably have one. But mine, it's new to me. I've never had a saltwater tank before this one. I've had this set up for about 6 months with water. I've had it since October, so that's more than 6 months. But water went in it around Christmas time or January.
No, wait. You had a bet with your wife that you wouldn't have any fish in it by Christmas, which we got there.
Did we put fish in it?
We had at least water. It was up and running.
We had water in it, I think, because I had some goals because it took a long time. Some goals.
Goal. I heard bowl. I'm like.
No, I had some goals. And one of the goals was my wife was bugging me because I had just an empty tank sitting here for a long time while I planned my aquascape, made sure I bought the right equipment or had the right equipment. So, yeah. So here it is, 6 months later. I've got my aquascape. I've got some fish and some corals in there. It's going really good. I'm learning a lot. We've added some components along the way. There's a lot to show you. Hopefully a lot of you have already been watching the series and know a lot of this already. And then if you're watching now, you can submit questions because we're live. So go ahead.
Fire away.
Ask some questions about, well, anything. Really.
Where do babies come from?
What?
Not that question.
Not that question.
Not that question.
Any questions related to saltwater aquariums? That's what we'll try to answer, specifically mine. So, yeah, we'll do that. We're going to talk for a few minutes about it. But yeah, the journey has been started with a dream. You know, I grew up in Minnesota. There was no saltwater animals in Minnesota. But I started really falling in love with it when someone my wife worked for right after we got married, he had one in his office. And I remember him sticking his arm in it and making like the puffer fish or something blow up. I was like, ooh, that's cool.
No.
Yeah, he did that.
No.
So, no. Well, it was cool, but maybe not so cool, right? So, yeah, I thought it was really awesome. I really love the colors and the corals. It's so much more vibrant than my freshwater aquarium that I've had for, 20 years. I've had that tank for 20 years. And it's it's been really exciting for that. And, Mark, one of the things you told me was that on the freshwater that I wouldn't pay much attention to it anymore. And I just did a water change in the freshwater tank. I hadn't done one in probably 3 months or maybe 6 months. It was really nasty. So
I told you that would happen.
Yeah, so I don't spend as much time with the freshwater as I used to. It gets kind of neglected. But this
Why would you? You have this to look at, or you have a freshwater tank.
They're both cool. I still like the other one, but this really is special. It is.
There's both cool, but this one is special.
There's cool and there's rad. This one's rad.
You wouldn't say that to your kids. Like, you're both cool, but you're special.
This one's special. No, it's better. I really enjoy it. And I think the best part that was unexpected is my wife really enjoys it. So it's a fun thing to learn about and have all this new stuff. But I didn't know how much she was going to enjoy it. And one of the things that's happened, Mark, is she comes in the morning, gets her coffee, and then walks in and stands and looks at it, and we enjoy it together. And the same thing happens when she comes home from work at night. And then my wife and my daughter have named every single fish in here. They all have names. So that's pretty fun.
I want to know when are the corals going to get named?
I should ask. Maybe some of them already have names. Penelope,
They're keeping you in the
do
dark.
we have any names for the corals?
No way. No way.
She's in the other room. I don't know if she's got names for the corals, but yeah, everything will get named in here because it's fun.
So you're having, okay, wait. What are the names of the freshwater fish? Okay.
I don't think any of them have names.
All right.
All right.
So you're enjoying it. We've got coral. We've got fish. We've had success.
Yeah.
Anything that you would tell someone who's a freshwater hobbyist or not, they're thinking about getting into saltwater, but they're scared. What would you say to them?
What would I say to them? That applies to anything in life, really. Is you have to give it. You have to go. You have to give it a try. The unknown is often scary, but some of the things that you try that are scary turns out they're awesome, and then you want to do it more. And that's what this has turned into. I know from years of hanging out with you and playing cameraman for you, going to trade shows, that I saw you speak a lot of times and say to people about your journey. Mm. And so I knew all about your journey from watching you speak about, your small aquarium, the first one your dad brought home for you. And then now he built an addition on his house, which I haven't been to your house ever. So I want to come see your aquarium because you have over 1,000 gallon.
On the second story over the garage.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that day when that happens for me.
Planes fly both directions. I fly down.
No, I'm going to come up there for sure.
Fly home.
Yeah.
So you could come. You could leave this for a day or two. It's okay.
I will. I'll come up there and visit you.
Which people are asking. They want to know how much we're going to automate this thing. Mm. Which it has some already. The lights have their own app for that. They're automated.
Yep.
We have auto top off. That's very low tech top off, but we're going to talk about that in the future episodes.
Yeah.
Are we going to add a controller to this? The answer is yes, in time.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get across to people that it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be complicated. It keeps getting more complicated because we're adding pieces to it, but it's worth for the complication that we're adding. At some point, we'll put a controller on here.
Yeah.
You don't have to have it to have a successful tank. You've gotten this far done, and things are good.
I'm a gadget guy, so
You want one?
I want all that. Plus, I want it all on my phone. I had a disaster with my pool today. You're visiting. You saw that my pool on my house, the filtration on the side of the house exploded. And you were like, well, don't you have an alarm for that? My alarm was when I walked out of the house this morning, my pool was low. And this happened like 2 months ago, and my whole pool emptied. I don't know how many gallons that is, but it emptied into my yard.
212.
212, I wish. It is thousands of gallons of water in the pool. So today, my pool's down. I walk out there, and you're like, what, you didn't get an alert? So I'm sure they make that for that as well. Mm. So I'm like, I need to know when these things are happening. So I like the idea of being able to look at my phone and be able to know what's going on with my tank. So I want to get there someday, just because of that. And some of you that have followed this series know that I had on my freshwater tank, I woke up and found dead fish. And I went to scoop them out, and I put my hand on the side of the glass, and the glass was hot. And then that's when I added my Inkbird actually, I didn't do it to my freshwater yet. It's still I need to add one up there. But I did add one here, and what it is a little power outlet with a temperature probe that you put in where your heater is, and it monitors what your heater's doing. You set a range for your water temperature, and then that way, if your water temperature gets too hot, it shuts the power off to your heater. And so the thing that happened in my freshwater tank shouldn't happen here because we added that cool little component to shut the heater off. Like you said, a lot of times when a heater fails, it fails on. So it stays on. And my freshwater tank was so hot, it killed probably half my fish.
But I will give freshwater tanks this. Half of them lived. They probably went back to spawning the next day and didn't blink an eye. If that happened
and that thing was hot to the touch.
If that happened in a saltwater tank.
Yeah.
Like, gone.
Yeah, so this has alarmed off because I didn't have it set right, but then it goes off on my phone. It goes off audible in the room. So that kind of safety is really important, and that kind of automation I want. Now I also have like a little electronic sensor for water level in my water station, in my mixing station.
Yep.
So I've got the mechanical thing shut off for my RODI unit.
Right.
The little float comes up and it stops it, but I also have a little electric eye in there.
Backups.
Yep. Good to have backups. So, it all costs money, but it's peace of mind and it's fun. It's cool. I'm like, I dig the gadget part of it.
Well, and we also added more lights. People are asking about lights. We put 2 more lights on here, current lights.
Yeah.
And yes, for those of you that are noticing, we have a clam in here as well. We've had a clam in here from very early on in the tank. It's always done well. We took some par readings today, which we'll talk about in another episode. But this is doing well. All the coral in here is doing well.
You mentioned about my clam that he looks really healthy. He's got a white line on him.
Yep, that's growth.
That's growth. Actually, let me get a shot of it for everyone to see. And we got Bridger.
Let's go to the handheld shot.
Operating the cameras here. Here's the handheld. Bridger, say hi. You're on live since you just switched to it. And we're going to switch over to the aquarium. Actually, let me get my little filtration set here.
Hang on.
You want to demo that for me? So this really helps me get, since the water's so blue in there, I get this little filter out. This was a great little thing. I saw Ken from Saltwater Aquarium using this at one of the trade shows. Oh, I should wipe it off. And I'm like, what is that? So it makes everything orange. But when you go on blue light, you can see how blue it is. And then you do this. Oh, look at it. It looks kind of normal now. So yeah, it's a great little thing. And my clam, let me pinch in on that. So that's what the clam looks like. Actually, it looks a little blue. I'm going to try this filter again. A lot of times what you want to do is put this filter on before you open your camera app and then open it pointing at the aquarium if you use these filters. And it looks really cool. Hey, this guy wants to be on camera. Hey, buddy. He's a new fish. I got him and I got a pair of them and they're always together. My wife says they do the groove, that they dance, like that little thing he's doing, staying steady. So yeah, the clam looks awesome. I mean, he's looking really good. And Mark had me, or he reoriented it to a 90 so that I can see inside there a little bit better. But yeah, I love all the residents in here. And then, hey Mark, I got this new coral. We said Vargas, what was it called? Vargas?
You still not got it?
I can't say that word. What is that word?
Sespicularia.
So this is my Vargas Sespicularia that I just got, and you can see right there, I've had it less than a week and it's like growing onto the rock already.
And for those of you concerned about that, yes, we got it handled. We talked about that in a future show. It's going to move to its own little happy house.
Oh, look at that
fish. They grow well.
Look at that fish back there. That's my Falco hawkfish.
You're like a kid in a candy store, Jimmy.
Yeah, I love it. So there he goes. He took off. No, his name is Sam, I think. And I think that's what it is.
I thought it was Falco.
No, he's named after Falcon from Marvel. And the Avenger Falcon, his real name is Sam, so my daughter calls him Sam.
I don't have any time to watch movies. I'm just looking at my tank all the time.
Yeah, well, it's almost as good. Look at the color really changed with this filter. Plus, we've got big studio lights on in here, so it's I move around and it keeps changing. But yeah, it's looking really good in here. It's really enjoyable. Let me see if I can fix this lighting a little bit again. So that looks pretty good without it.
Another trick question, Jimmy. What kind of clam is that?
That is a ocean clam from the ocean. It's a sea ocean clam. native to the waters of the Atlantic and the Pacific.
Clam. You can say Durasa.
Durasa.
Yes.
It's a Durasa clam.
There you go.
And that fish is really liking it today. You know, I got this. Oh, there's the wrasse. This little guy.
I won't eat anything.
He is pretty excited when he follows me around. He does not like me putting my hand in the tank to move corals. He likes to nip at my arm. And then another new resident I got is back there. You can't really see him. I got a blood shrimp. He's pretty cool. So yeah, it's starting to look good in here. What does everybody think? You like it?
They say you need more corals.
I'm trying to think. I just added 16 corals. So there's a lot of little guys in there. So there's a lot of really little ones.
Which is all right. I am a fan of adding small corals and letting them grow.
Yeah. And then we just adjust the light. Yeah. All right, let's cut to this camera again. Bridger is operating the controls.
Hand it back to the man.
Nice.
So, the question on my mind, Jimmy, is you're 6 months in. Any regrets about where you placed the tank or how you've done things, bigger tank? What would you change? Because at this point in the hobby, you're starting to have success. You have a lot of success shown here. You're starting to form opinions about things. You find out what you like, what you don't like. What do you think?
Definitely no regrets. I mean, you visited when I walked around the house trying to plan where I wanted it. Because, you know, you're not going to move this thing once you have it set up. So it's pretty tough to move. So picking out the size and the place, I was really, I think I really planned well. So I definitely don't have regrets, and rarely I regret things because, you know, you make choices, but hopefully you make good choices and
you get a saltwater tank. That's a great choice.
Yeah, so I can't think of anything that I regret about it. You know, would I like something bigger? In this room, no. I mean, it doesn't, I don't know. Well, he's looking at this wall over here.
I'm always thinking about where a tank
could
go. Yeah. That wall, this off camera here, is easily 75, 80% of this wall, bigger that is.
All right, show that wall, Bridger.
Look at this. Like 5, 10, it's probably 12.
But I normally have my couch over there.
That can be moved. Couch furniture.
Yeah, the couch is out in the hall because we're videoing, so I usually have that couch in here. But since we needed a little more room for video,
you can
I could put
10 foot, 12 foot in and get rid of the desk because who wants to work? And you just put a couch, and this is like the deep relaxation room.
Yeah, right.
Possibilities. I'm always thinking that way. Don't tell me there's no room in here because there's lots of room.
Yeah.
You just have to be open-minded, Jimmy.
All right.
Okay. All right, fine. So, not bigger.
Oh, he's live. That's right. That's right.
So, not bigger unless we did something over here, which we're not. So, you're happy with the size.
Well, I've got plans. I want to do a 1,200 gallon peninsula tank with 2 4-foot drop-offs.
He's just saying that because I have a 987 gallon tank with 1 drop off. But that's okay. If that's the way you roll, I mean, you just bought a new Porsche. I guess I'll have to go and buy a Ferrari.
I wish. But it's like you always say, you know, you think it's big and then quickly it becomes where that's just kind of
normal. Does it feel big now?
Not to me.
Yeah.
But when I've had people over, they walk in and go, "Oh, that's huge." So I'm like, yeah, it's not a goldfish bowl.
So you don't wish you went bigger. Any wishes that you went smaller?
No.
No.
I have a 20-gallon quarantine that I keep upstairs, and to water change, I carry 5-gallon buckets up. But recently, when I was in the fish store, a gentleman helping me was saying that, you know, you can't get that fish; it needs more room. I said, well, I'm going to put it in 20-gallon quarantine, and then I had to explain to him that my display tank's 180 gallons. He's like, oh yeah, it'll do okay in there, but still, and I can't remember what fish it was, but so now I'm thinking maybe I need a larger quarantine
Easy.
tank.
75-gallon tank at the top of the stairs, quarantine tank.
No, that one's not. What would I do with those fish? I mean, no.
You would rehome them to someone who would
No.
love to have them to start their aquarium journey. So
Sparky really likes those fish.
Sparky likes these fish better.
This tank is taller. Sparky can stand up to that one, and he gets up there and watches them and scratches at them.
You got a ramp for onto the couch. Why don't you build him a ramp onto this fish tank?
No, he doesn't need to get in here. He does sit on the couch and he looks at him because I'm looking at him.
There you go. So 75-gallon freshwater tank becomes quarantine tank. That's handled. What other problems do you want to solve today, Jimmy?
Problems. Well, we did talk about my auto top off. This particular aquarium came with an auto top off, and I'm finding that I'm filling it like 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
And how I do that is I wheel my from my mixing station. I have 22-gallon.
Why don't you go show them your mixing
All right,
station?
let's go to the mixing station. Let's cut back to the live cam here, and we'll go to my mixing station. Ignore this. This was moved because we are filming. But my mixing station is just right part of my laundry room. So you come in here, and this used to just be a cabinet, and I installed this. There was already roughed-in plumbing, and we did a show on this. And then I've got my RODI unit there, and then I've got 2 22-gallon, and I chose this height because I also have a counter and how tall this was. And the distance, the larger Brute cans weren't going to fit side by side without them being offset. So I chose a little bit smaller. Here I make my clean water, or clean my fresh water into this 22-gallon Brute, and then it's got a mechanical, it could use a little more water. We'll turn it on here. I turn it on. I have these hooked up to my Alexa so I can tell it to turn it on. And then it also has this little solenoid that will shut off the water in addition to this mechanical one. And that runs off the little electric eye there. And it's turning on. And that little electric eye, that came from this thing, the Flood Guardian, which works great. It reads up to there, and it also beeps. Whoop! So yeah, that's one way to turn off. It'll turn off the water automatically. So I'll have it fill up a little bit more, and then I pump that water with a Seashade Zero. Hot water. I have a void pump that I put on there and mixes in here, and then I mix the salt right in there out of my buckets, and that's how I move my salt water. They're on wheels, so you just wheel them into the other room. It's pretty cool. So yeah, you don't have to have a mixing station like this, but I would say if you have an aquarium even close to the size of what I have, I don't know how you do it without it, honestly. This was, you have to have it, I think. Mark said you don't have to have it. Let's go back and talk to Mark about that. So that was like this, I thought the smartest thing ever. Mark, were you listening to me when I was in there?
Jimmy, I'm always listening to you.
I was just saying,
hear you or not.
I was just saying, hey Bridger, we cut back to the 2? I was just saying, let me put this down, that I don't know how I would do this without my mixing station. You're like, yeah, you don't have to have a mixing station, but doing water changes and stuff, I don't know how else I would do it on this big. I mean, do you have a guideline about where you would say, you should do a mixing station?
So that's a great question. Where should you do a mixing station? Look, part of it's how committed are you and how much space do you have? If you know you're going all in, put in a mixing station. You won't regret it from day one.
Yeah, I think that was smart.
If you have a little nano that's like 20 gallons and a 5-gallon water change is 25% water change, you can probably do without it. Part of it too is how much hauling of water going to your local fish store do you want to do?
So I've never done that. But the other day when I was at the fish store, I watched a car pull up and 4 people got out and they all carried 2 buckets. 4 people got out of the car and they all carried 2 buckets. I went, oh, I'm glad I didn't go that route. So I don't have experience with that. I'm not knocking it. I just, because like me, I have to even roll them, those Brute trash cans down the hall. Because you said, oh, get a Brute trash can. And I was like, dude, I'm not doing Brute trash cans. If you have this big, beautiful aquarium and then I'm going to make water in trash cans, I thought that was tacky. But no, they work great because they come with wheels. And you're like, no, trust me, trust me. And honestly, who cares? They're in my laundry room and they do the job. And I was able to put the top off stuff in there with just a real easy little hole. Yeah, they work great. That's a great solution.
Perfect. So where would I have a mixing station? If you can do it and you're in, do it from the get-go because you won't regret it.
Yeah.
Like 55 and up, I would definitely be looking for some
That's
kind
what
of
I was
mixing
looking
station.
for. And I think that's what I think is great for people that are viewing is, at what point does it get where this is so much water that you want to have something like that? That's a great idea. Yeah.
And the worst case, if the zombie apocalypse comes, you got a way to make water right in your house, and you got a reservoir, so you can survive for some amount of time.
Yeah, I've got some water in there. We get hurricanes in Florida, and people fill up their bathtubs and stuff to have water.
There you go.
It's a real thing. I've got clean water, and I've got salt water for my fishies.
So you're happy with the size. You're happy with the mixing station. Yeah. We've added more lice. The livestock is good. What type of clam?
Whatever you said earlier. We can play it back. We can.
What type of coral is this?
That is a Vargas cestularian. Cestial.
We're gonna remember those 3-ring binders in grade school? Maybe you didn't even have them when you were in grade school.
Oh man,
you had to flip between them, and you had the little sleeve where you could put a piece of paper. I'm gonna make you one with all.
We'll just do a whiteboard in here. We'll write it down and I'll look at it.
But then if you put a whiteboard here, then you'd have less room for your fish tank because you cover up the whiteboard.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What my solution is when I'm at the fish store is I just text Mark.
Hey, speaking of fish stores, you got busted recently. You were recognized in the wild as a YouTuber.
A YouTuber. Hey, thank you everybody for watching because I'm just standing here talking to two cameras. We don't know each other, but I get to meet you when we were at Reefapalooza, a trade show here in Orlando.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be interesting to see if anyone approached me because when I go to trade shows with you, people are like, hey, Mr. Saltwater Tank, Mr. Saltwater Tank, can I get my picture with you? And then I get their phone and I take a picture of them. But at Reefapalooza, now they've been doing this 6 months, was in April, here in Orlando, some folks came up to me and were like, hey, you're Jimmy from YouTube. And I'm like, oh, sweet. It was really fun meeting people. It was it was exciting. It's fun that people are watching because I want to share it with y'all. But last week in the fish store, I was the only customer in there. Must have been the time of day. And I'm talking to the fish store guy and another customer comes in and I don't really see him or hear him, but the gentleman helping me goes, did you need any help? I'll be with you in just a minute. And I turn around and I see that he's talking to another customer and he goes, oh, hey, does Mark know you're in here? And I go, what? And I'm like, what, you know me from YouTube? He's like, oh yeah, I watch your newbie series. It's good. So I was really excited. I'm sorry if you're watching now. I forgot your name. But he was from Ohio. And we have all the theme parks here. So most people are coming to Orlando. They're going to Disney or something. So I'm like, oh, you're here. I said, oh, do you live around here? He goes, no, I'm here from Ohio. I'm just making my rounds to all the fish stores because you have a lot of cool fish stores here. I'm like, yeah, we do. And he goes, yeah, my wife's at Disney right now. So he wasn't at Disney. He decided to go to the fish stores. And
why would you go to Disney when you can go to a fish store?
Well, you need to go to the seas of Nemo and Friends. That's right.
Where are you going to get me in? You're the inside guy.
I wish I could. I used to be the guy.
I'm just a YouTuber.
I worked there at that aquarium, and it was good fun for a number of years. I loved it. And we called these small systems. So whenever we had aquariums, they would be specific. We'd have something this size, maybe 3 or 4 times the size in an oval, and it would be all eels.
Yep.
And so any aquarium we had like that, we called small systems because our aquarium at the seas is 6 million gallons.
6 million.
Yeah. So if you get a chance to come to Orlando, go check out the aquarium at the seas. It's really fun. And that's at Epcot. And I do miss working there. It was fun. Yeah. So Mark, what do you think of this 6 months in?
I think so. Let's put some context on this. I'm used to seeing this tank.
Yeah.
If I didn't know you and I walked in here and you're like, hey, here's my 6 months old aquarium reef tank. What do you think? I would look at it and go, I would be very happy with this level of success. Mix of corals, how everything looks right now. It's a tank that's coming along. Clearly it's not grown in, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, in some ways, a tank at this level is more fun than a tank that's fully grown in and can look weedy like the forest.
Yeah.
I'd be thrilled with the way it looked.
Yeah. Just adding the corals I've just recently added is already exciting, especially when it moves from daylight to moonlight and it gets really blue in here and I walk by and it glows. Although this aquarium's right in the front of my house, so the blue light from here spills through the windows, through the front door. You pull up at night and it's just blue out in my driveway. But no, it looks great. I'm super happy with it. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who watches on YouTube.
And Facebook and wherever you watch.
Oh, yeah, if you're on Facebook. Oh, yeah, we broadcast to Facebook too. And I try to share it. And that's what I'd ask you all to do. Please share. Please share this thing if you find it valuable at all and know anybody else, especially someone who you know has maybe admired your tank and you think they might get into the hobby. This would be hopefully a good series to share with them and encourage them to give it a try. And the other part that's cool about Facebook and YouTube and where we share all this is there's a comment section. And you can comment and ask questions and engage. And it doesn't have to be us just talking heads talking to you all the time. It can be...
hey, you're more than a talking head. You're a YouTuber.
I'm a YouTuber. I'm an influencer. Am I an influencer?
Sure.
Yeah. Next, I want to be a DJ. A DJ reefer influencer on Instagram and TikTok. I'm going to do TikToks.
Hey, man, it's all a goal, man. Whatever your dream is, don't let me hold you back.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not. That's my goal because I'm not really working a lot lately, so I got to find a.
Why? Because you're staring at your tank?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm having too much enjoying this.
Horrible things, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Bridger, do we have any questions coming in?
People ask about the clam. What type of clam?
What type of clam? Bridger, what type of clam?
He doesn't.
I got no clue.
Bridger doesn't even know.
He was listening to the broadcast and he doesn't know.
Junior Saltwater Tank.
Mr. Junior Saltwater.
Mr. Junior Saltwater Tank. Come on, Bridger. You've been living with this guy your whole life, and his son does not know what kind of clam that is. You're a failure, Mark.
He's young and impressionable.
You're not a failure.
Ready?
Your dad's a failure.
We'll use this Durasa clam.
Durasa. That's not what you said earlier. You said Durasi. That is a Vargas symposium. Synthetic synthesis.
Okay.
What is it?
We still have work to do here with Jimmy Newby Reefer. It's all right if you don't know all the names. We'll get you there. He's having a lot of success. Thanks, everyone, for your questions.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Some of you had other questions. We're going to cover those in upcoming shows, so preview of upcoming attractions. With that, Jimmy, I'm going to leave you to your tank. I got to go grab some dinner.
All right, grab some dinner. Hey, cut to this shot before we leave, and we'll fade out. Thanks, everybody. Here's the aquarium. Ooh.